Hey everybody, John Eric here. I'm going to tell you a very interesting story. My wife and I own a gas station, convenience store, smog shop, car wash, many businesses in one. And something very interesting happened about 6 weeks ago, and this is going to be also a review of a company called Servpro. I thought it was my duty, my obligation to let everybody know my experience of this company, but I'm going to give you a little backstory to it as well. I'll be sending this video to all the news stations in Las Vegas, actually all of them in Southern Nevada, as well as the insurance commissioner, the FBI, the Department of Justice. Many people are going to see this video. So about 6 weeks ago, an arsonist came into our car wash, and here's the video of him coming into the car wash. I'm just going to show you a piece of it here. His name is Rosa. He burned my car wash down. So they see parts of that. There he is.
Say hello.
He gets very excited when he sees flammable material. There's more to his story as well. I've got the whole lowdown on the prison time he's doing, the whole 9 yards. If you look closely, you can see it getting very bright by his hand. That's him lighting my brush on fire inside my car wash.
There's a bone.
Then he's going to walk out the back, and ultimately he's going to come back 7 times and take pictures of the fire that he started.
Taking pictures.
And there's lots of lessons in this video, lots of lessons. So here you see the flames getting larger and larger. Here he comes back taking more photos. There's another picture for his Facebook page as the fire grows and grows and grows. Now what ended up burning in this fire was that brush, and that red arch you see there basically melted. The crazy part about this is, and I'll go into what happened to him and how he was caught. Actually, I'll put a link to this original video so you can see exactly what happened with this whole case, but I've got the follow-up to that. This video is not going to go much longer because the fire got big enough that it burnt the power coming into the building, shut the power off, which killed the cameras. So in the end, it didn't look like that much damage. I'm going to stop it real quick and show you some photos of what it looked like afterwards. It doesn't look that bad. The problem is they don't make parts for this car wash anymore. So here's what's left of the red arch. Not much. Oops. Wrong way. Then here is some of the melted plastic, and then this is the brush here that was red. Here's the ceiling. That's the motor in the ceiling. Now the ceiling's got stainless steel panels up there, so that's mostly cosmetic. That's, you know, pressure wash and get all that soot off, and it's good. That motor obviously is gone. Here's more pictures of the ceilings and the walls after the fire. The skylights, they melted as well. Here's some of the plastic that melted, and of course this is, you know, unusable. And here's what's left of one of the red arches. The rest of it melted into a pile on the floor. And here's a fire he started right after he left here. I think that's the only pictures I have. No, here we go. Then after the insurance company came, I did a little cleanup. Actually, this isn't how Servpro got this. I'm getting to the moral of the story very quickly. But myself and some of my employees, we cleaned it up real good. We got the floors cleaned. We took the arch out. We took this big motor out. And we had it pretty clean. We didn't bother pressure washing the walls and all that stuff because, come to find out, this car wash is over 5 years old and it's become obsolete. So the manufacturer no longer makes it. They don't make parts for it. It's not like you know, a 2012 Chevy Suburban where you can go to the junkyard and get parts forever. It's a car wash where they only made probably a few hundred of them. And that's relevant for a couple reasons. Number one, the cost of the old car wash was about $250,000, and that's what we're insured for. Now the problem is the 2018 version of that car wash is a whole lot more than that, hundreds of thousands of dollars more than that, but the insurance only covers what it's covered for. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the arson in a minute, but I want to tell you what happened with Servpro. So I didn't do any cleaning at all until the adjuster came out and he looked at it, he took his pictures and whatnot. I showed him the video. I have video, obviously. I just showed it to you of the guy doing it. So that took all the suspicion off of me. It turns out that 90% of all business fires are done by the business owner trying to collect insurance money. Obviously, that's not me. I've got a video of the creep that did it. But where it gets, what triggered me to make this video is this company called Servpro was sent out by my insurance company, actually my landlord's insurance company. I have my own insurance company that covers other stuff. But they sent Servpro out, and I watched them working for a day and a half, and I called them up, and I texted them. I'm like, hey, these guys are idiots. They're really not doing anything. I mean, what they've done in 2 days, I could do in 2 hours. So, you know, get them out of here. I'm sure they're not cheap. Oh, no, it's fine. You know, they know what they're doing. Just let them clean up. I said, okay. And they continued to do their thing. And this has been about a month now that they've been gone. Actually, just over a month. Yeah. So they were out here on September 7th, 8th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Now, I showed you the condition that the car wash was in before they started messing with it. Basically, they swept the floor and they power washed the walls and the ceiling. So there was 2 guys out here the whole time. Now, I got a bill. I want you to see this. I got a bill here. It should look right here where it says water extraction. Now, we're in a car wash. There's no water to extract, obviously. Now, I want you to look at the price on the other side. $14,000 and another $3,100 here. Now, what's that for? It says here, allowance for 5 techs for 8 hours for 6 days. So I did a little study, and I wanted to see, man, I don't remember ever seeing 6 guys out here. The sixth guy gets $70 an hour because he's a supervisor. Now, I don't remember ever seeing that many guys out here, and I guess what they didn't realize is, if you just saw the video inside the car wash, those cameras are still there, so I got video of everything they did. I also got video of them on the outside of the car wash. I'm going to ask Alex to help me real quick. Let's see. So here is one of the days they were here. Hopefully you can see them pulling up there in their white van. That's them backing up right there. Can you see it on here? So that's them backing up in their white van. That's at 9:38 and 12 seconds on 9/11. Now I'm going to fast forward it and show you how long they were here. Now remember, there's supposed to be 6 guys here for 8 hours a day. They didn't start till 9:38. I'm going to fast forward this at 64 times regular speed and show you how long they were here. So from 9:38 up until, let's see, how long were they here? This is getting fast forwarded really fast. Did you zoom in? So 9:38. So we're almost at 9:58. So we're almost at 20 minutes. Okay, now we're at 20 minutes. It's 9:58 now. Now it's 10:03, 10:04. And how much longer will they be? Oh, they're gone at 10:10. So how many minutes is that? That's 28 minutes. So this company, this national company, submitted a bill for $14,000 for a 28-minute day. It gets better. It gets a lot better. So I'm going to dissect the bill a little bit more. Then I'm going to tell you more of the story. So we've got on the bill here, emergency service call during business hours, $200. Right there. 177 emergency service call. Now, the first day they came, let's see what time they got here the first day they came. So the first day they came, they got here at 9:41. There was 2 guys. They stayed till 2:27. That's 286 minutes. Emergency service call, this is almost 2 weeks after the fire. What emergency? The emergency is when the fire trucks show up. That's the emergency. The cleanup guys who come 2 weeks later is not an emergency. Okay? Hauled debris per pickup truck load, including dump fees. $461. Now that little red arch I showed you that was melted and bent over, so I cut that down myself. I cut it in half and I put it in the dumpster, which was 2 feet from their van. There was no debris to haul off. Nothing. Nada. Zero. But that's $461. And then of course, I added it up. I went back and watched a video for every single second they were here. The company was on scene for a total of 17 hours and 31 minutes was the total time they were here. What'd they bill me for? 240 man hours here and 48 man hours here. That's 288 billable hours. But they were only here for 17 hours. How could that be? Well, there's supposed to be 6 guys here. There was never 6 guys here. Let's dissect it a little bit more. This is very interesting. So, generator, 6,000 watt portable per day. Total, $552. A generator for what? I counted the outlets in that building that still work. Are you ready for this? I have over 62 outlets in that building, and I asked my smog tech, who was working literally side by side with these guys the whole time, I said, they ever use a generator? He's like, no, I showed him where the plug was. It was right there. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So there's no generator necessary. Masonry acid wash. I'm going to let you have that, other than the fact that nothing needed to be acid washed because the floor of a car wash doesn't need to be cleaned. You sweep it and then it's done. Clean with pressure chemical spray, very heavy, $310. Okay, maybe that's what got rid of the smoky smell. I'm going to give them $310 for that. Add for personal protective equipment, hazardous cleanup, $574. I will get footage of them inside there. They weren't wearing any hazardous suits. The fire was 2 weeks old. The doors were up. It had all been power washed out. There was no need. There was no hazardous anything. Here's one of my favorites: respirator, full multi-purpose, $182. So I have to buy him a respirator. Here's my very favorite: a box of cleaning rags, $225 for a box of cleaning rags. Wow, those must be some special rags. Now they couldn't reach the ceiling, so they got a scissor lift for $600. The funny part about the scissor lift was they could never figure out how to use it, so the guy who dropped it off came and picked it up the next day. It never got used. That's really comical. And one of my favorites, 40-foot aluminum ladder, $444. The ceilings are 10 feet tall in that building. You couldn't even stand up a 40-foot ladder, shrunk in half, because I'm sure it's an extension ladder, so it'd be at least 20 feet tall, right? You can't stand up a 20-foot ladder inside a 10-foot building. But yet they want me to pay $444 for that. Now here's my absolute most favorite part: HEPA vacuuming. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details about what that really is, but basically they bring this big giant machine in, they go bzzz. The only part that would have needed anything, which it didn't because it was pressure washed and it was fine, was the little 2 foot by 2 foot square where all the plastic melted and it just made a big blob of plastic. So $2,000 for that. That doesn't make sense either. Respirator half face multi-purpose, $50. Respirator cartridge, $66. So that's the gist of the bill. So the total bill is right here, $23,000. Now what they actually accomplished in there, really not much. They ended up spending about 4 hours of that time inside my store. So we have a convenience store too. They were here inside my store, sitting at those tables where this guy in yellow is. They were sitting over there eating chips and drinking sodas. And this is what we pay $23,000 for. Now, why am I going over all this? Most people say, the insurance company's paying for it, who cares? Well, I care. Here's why. I told you earlier in the video that I'm underinsured. My insurance maxes out at X and my damage is Y. And Y is bigger than X. So that means if my insurance company pays this bill for $23,000, that's $23,000 less dollars they're able to pay to actually do the repairs that are needed. And then who's going to pay for those repairs out of their pocket? Me. I'm going to pay that. So I'm glad the insurance company called me and asked me about these guys at Servpro, which is really funny because they don't send a bill as Servpro, they send it as Greenway. So I looked up Greenway/Servpro to see what was up, and it turns out that there are two people, a husband and wife, I believe, last name of Greenway. They own Servpro here in Las Vegas. Maybe it's just one franchise, maybe it's a whole company. I don't know how big this is. So I'm thinking about this. If this happens to me, and $23,000 to most people is a lot of money, but in a commercial environment, it's really not that much money, but it's still my money. So what happens when, a warehouse fire happens and, the damage is, in the tens of millions of dollars? What is Servpro bills going to be then? How many people have surveillance on what Servpro is doing while they're doing what they're doing? Probably not too many people. So the second half of this story, and this video is getting really long, so I'm going to try to cut this out now. The second half of this story goes back to the young man that burned my car wash down. So let's go back to that for a second, because this is more for the news people who are going to want to publish this story. So this young man, Anthony Rosa, walked into my car wash about, I think it was September 31st, 2017, around midnight, caught it on fire. The fire guys came, they put the fire out. They assumed it was electrical because most of the damage was on a motor. So I watched the video that I showed you, and I could see the flames coming out, but I saw the arsonist go in and out several times, and I was able to, at that point, go in the car wash and remove the DVR and access the video that I showed you earlier of him burning it down. About the same time this is happening, my wife calls me now. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and she says, honey, there's a fire right down the street. You got to come over here. I think it might be the same guy. Of course it's the same guy. What are the odds that there's 2 fires within 2 blocks of each other and within 2 hours of each other? Probably not very good. So I went over there. I took the same video I showed you, and I showed the neighbors out in the street watching this car fire, which I'll pull that up real quick. So the same, so I showed this. He did this also the very next day. That's his neighbor's car. So I went over to this scene at 2 o'clock in the morning, and everybody out in the street, I showed them my video that I showed you, and they were like, oh, that guy, that's Anthony. He lives right here next door. What a surprise. So I've been getting subpoenaed to go to court to testify against him, and you know, I explained to the district attorney that you know, my damages are way beyond what my insurance is going to pay. I might even go out of business as a result of this because we're losing so much. A big part of our business is inoperable. So my hope is that we even stay in business long enough to get the new car wash to make all the money back that I'm losing right now. But they finally told me today that they're not going to proceed with the trial. They're going to accept a plea deal. So I was very upset when I got that email. I sent them a big message explaining to them all the devastation this has caused in my life, my staff's life, my customers' lives. I mean, it's been a mess for hundreds of us. And I have a lot of very unhappy customers that come here, you know, weekly, daily. A lot of Uber drivers come here daily and get a car wash. And that's my business. This is what my wife and I saved up for 20 years, all of our money to get this gas station going. And then in like 2 minutes, somebody, you know, lights a match and it's gone. So the district attorney, actually the prosecutor, called me today to explain to me what they meant by a plea deal. And it turns out they're going to be, he's going to be sentenced to 8 years, mandatory 8 years in prison for what he did to me. And she kind of gave me an option. She's like, well, you know, I could go the other way and give him probation, and you can maybe start getting restitution sooner, because, you know, he's going to be forced to pay restitution. I mean, the bill is going to be, you know, in the hundreds of thousands, potentially 7 figures by the time it's all said and done. And I'm like, he'll never make enough money to make any difference for what he did. You know, please put him away. But he's on parole for other things as well, or probation, so now he's going to be doing a very, very long sentence. So really what I want to say about this is shame on you, Servpro. You know, it's not bad enough that people go through traumatic things like fires and floods and these things like this. And I guess you figure the insurance company's paying for it, who cares, they'll just pay the bill, and most of them do. If I was an absentee owner and I was living in, you know, Ohio, and I got a call that said, hey, it's on fire and we're going to send this crew out there to clean it up, I probably would have just said, okay, you know, take care of it, I'm not there. I don't even own this property, but that doesn't matter. I own the business that's on the property. So really what I'm saying is, Servpro, you should be ashamed of yourself. And Anthony, Rosa, you should be ashamed of yourself as well. And your parents should be ashamed of themselves as well, because they have done a horrific, terrible injustice to this community to raise you the way they have, to allow you to even think for a second it's okay to go devastate people's lives just because you think that's going to be fun, or you'll get some kind of kick out of it and put it on social media. That's what he was doing when he got arrested. He was putting all these videos and pictures he took of my fire, my tragedy, on his Facebook page, his Instagram page. None of that's okay. So I hope this gets the attention of somebody who can do something about this. Anthony, you're going to prison for a long time. I guess that's what you get. I don't know that your parents will ever see this. Maybe they will. Hopefully they do. But I'll send this picture to this video to the prosecutor as well, so that you have an understanding of the devastation you've caused in my life. And then of course Servpro follows it up with, you know, they come out and do a job worth a few $100s. They milk it as long as they can, and then they blatantly lie. And I suppose the justification is, oh, it's just insurance money, who cares? That's not what it's about. You don't have any ethics, you don't have any morals, you're disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. So that's what I have to say.